There's a powder sitting on a hardware store shelf right now that has been erasing yellow bathtubs since before your grandfather was born, and the people charging you $500 to fix yours already know exactly where to find it. Not a prototype, not a new discovery, not something that requires a professional license or a contractor's truck in your driveway. A powder, under $2, sold openly, right next to the paintbrushes. And the reason you have never heard of it has nothing to do with how well it works. In fact, it has everything to do with how well it works. Because what works too well for too little money becomes a direct threat to every business built around the problem it solves. And this particular powder solves one of the most quietly embarrassing problems in the American home. The kind you notice every single morning but have stopped expecting to fix. That ring of yellow crawling up your tub walls, that brown crust gathering around your drain, the stain you have scrubbed, sprayed, soaked, and surrendered to. It is still there, not because you did not try hard enough, because every single product you tried was designed for a completely different type of stain. That is where the real story begins. Your bathtub did not get dirty the way your kitchen countertop gets dirty. There is no grease involved, no bacteria, no mold growing underneath a surface that needed bleach. What attacked your bathtub is geological. Literally. The United States Geological Survey, the federal agency responsible for monitoring water quality across the country, has documented that more than 85% of American homes receive what scientists classify as hard water. Hard water is not a brand name. It is not a marketing term. It is a technical description of water-carrying dissolved minerals pulled from underground rock formations, primarily calcium, magnesium, and iron. Every time that water enters your bathtub and evaporates off the surface, those minerals do not evaporate with it. They stay. They bond. They accumulate in invisible layers over months and years until the surface beneath them is chemically fused to what is now a permanent mineral deposit. Not a stain in the traditional sense, a geological event happening inside your bathroom. And here is where it gets serious. The cleaning industry knows this. They have known it for decades. Bleach does not dissolve minerals. Vinegar works on organic soap residue, but barely touches calcium carbonate. Baking soda is a gentle abrasive designed for surface-level organic buildup. Magic eraser, micro-abrasion for light marks. Comet, scrubbing bubbles, soft scrub, CLR, even the products marketed specifically for hard water stains contain concentrations too diluted to penetrate a deposit that has been building for years. You are not buying the wrong brand. You are buying from the wrong category of chemistry entirely. And not a single company profiting from your confusion has ever explained that distinction. Think about what that means. An entire industry worth over $55 billion annually in the United States alone has silently allowed millions of homeowners to spend years buying product after product that cannot chemically interact with the stain they are trying to remove. Not because the science is unknown, because the science leads directly to something they cannot sell you at a premium. If you are subscribing to Hidden Hacks right now, this is exactly why this channel exists. Because nobody else is going to walk you through this. Now let me tell you about the chemistry they buried. In 1773, a Swedish chemist named Carl Wilhelm Scheele isolated a naturally occurring organic acid from plant matter. He found it in spinach, in rhubarb, in wood sorrel, in dozens of plants humans had been consuming for thousands of years. He called it oxalic acid. He documented its extraordinary ability to bind to metal ions and convert them into water-soluble compounds that could be rinsed away. The mechanism is called chelation. It is not abrasion. It is not bleaching. It is a molecular interaction in which the acid molecule physically grabs onto metal ions, calcium, magnesium, and iron, and chemically converts them from solid mineral deposits into dissolved compounds your drain can handle without any scrubbing at all. Research across materials science confirms that oxalic acid removes calcium carbonate and iron oxide from ceramic and porcelain surfaces without damaging the glaze underneath. The stain lifts. The surface beneath it is untouched. That is not the behavior of a cleaning product. That is targeted chemistry with a precision that synthetic cleaning compounds have never matched. And this is the part most people miss entirely. In 1882, more than a century after Scheele documented this compound, a chemist in Indianapolis named George William Hoffman started selling a cleaning powder to bartenders. The primary active ingredient was oxalic acid. He called it barkeeper's friend. Bartenders across the Midwest refused to go back to anything else. The formula has changed almost nothing in 140 years of continuous production. But here is what nobody tells you. The consumer version of that product, the one sitting on grocery store shelves today, contains oxalic acid diluted with fillers and abrasives that reduce the concentration of the active ingredient dramatically. It still works better than bleach on mineral stains, but it is a fraction of the power available in pure oxalic acid powder, which you can buy separately for under $2 in a quantity that will clean your bathroom more times than you can count. The diluted version exists because a concentrated solution would solve the problem too completely, too cheaply, too permanently. Like this video, if you have been scrubbing the wrong thing for years and nobody ever told you why. Now let me show you exactly what the professionals know that they have never shared with you. Every licensed bathtub refinisher operating in the United States, every single one, uses oxalic acid before they apply a single drop of coating. They mix the powder, they apply it to your tub. They watch the yellow dissolve in real time. They rinse the surface clean. Then they spray a thin cosmetic layer of epoxy or urethane over the clean surface and hand you an invoice for $400 to $600. According to data from HomeAdvisor and Angie collected through 2025, the national average cost for bathtub reglazing sits at approximately $483. What does that money actually purchase? It purchases a professional cleaning of your bathtub with a $2 powder, and then it purchases a paint job over the result. That coating is not a restoration, it is a concealment. It begins to chip and peel within 3 to 5 years. It traps any moisture that finds its way under the edge. It cannot be repaired section by section. When it fails, you call the same company, pay the same invoice, and the cycle continues. Over a 20-year period, a homeowner who reglazes every 4 years pays roughly $2,400 for a cosmetic fix applied repeatedly over a problem that was solved permanently the first time the powder touched the surface. And this is where it gets serious. The bathtub replacement industry offers another option: a full tear-out and installation of a new tub, priced between $2,000 and $5,000 depending on the material and the contractor. What does a new tub do differently? Nothing. It arrives without mineral deposits because it has never been exposed to your water. Within 2 to 3 years in a hard water home, the cycle begins again. A new tub does not solve hard water. It restarts the clock on the same problem you just paid $4,000 to escape. The powder does not restart any clock. It removes what is there and, when paired with a sealant you can buy for under $5, prevents the mineral ions from bonding to the surface again. No contractor, no fumes, no 2-day displacement from your own bathroom. Now here is your complete step-by-step process. Go to any hardware store. Home Depot carries it. Lowe's carries it. Amazon ships it to your door by tomorrow. Search for oxalic acid powder. It is sometimes labeled wood bleach on the shelf because the lumber restoration industry, another field that has quietly relied on this chemistry for decades, uses it to strip oxidation from wood before finishing. A 1-pound container will cost you between $1 and $3. Put on rubber gloves before you open the container. Oxalic acid in powder form is safe to handle with basic precautions, but will irritate skin on direct contact. Open your bathroom window or switch on your exhaust fan. The solution you are about to mix does not produce dangerous fumes, but ventilation is always the right practice with any chemical work. Measure 2 tablespoons of powder into a small container. Add enough warm water to produce a thick paste, not a liquid. You want the consistency to stay where you put it, rather than running off vertical surfaces. Apply the paste directly onto every discolored area using the soft side of a sponge. Work it into the corners, around the drain, along the waterline ring, anywhere the yellow or brown has concentrated. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Walk away. This is not a product that rewards scrubbing. Pressure and abrasion are irrelevant here. The chemistry is doing structural work at a molecular level that your elbow grease cannot accelerate. When the timer ends, take a clean, non-abrasive sponge and gently wipe the surface. Watch what is happening. The yellow is not fading, it is dissolving. The white underneath is not your imagination. That is the factory surface that has been buried under years of calcium and iron. The contrast between treated and untreated sections will look like two completely different bathtubs occupying the same space. Rinse everything thoroughly. Use your shower head to flush the entire surface. Make sure no powder residue remains anywhere. Stand back and look at what you are standing in. That is your tub. That has always been your tub. Now apply the sealant. Pick up a ceramic surface protector or hydrophobic spray sealant from the same aisle. These are the same products used to protect car paint and windshield glass from environmental bonding. Cost is $2 to $5 for a bottle. Spray it evenly across the entire dry surface. Let it cure according to the label directions. What you have just created is an invisible molecular barrier between your tub surface and your water supply. Minerals that once bonded to bare porcelain will now bead off the sealed surface the same way rain beads off a waxed car hood. Reapply every few months. The yellow does not come back. Total investment under $5. Total time under 30 minutes. Subscribe to Hidden Hacks because what we just covered is one entry in a much longer list of problems the home improvement industry needs you to believe are expensive. They are not. They have never been. They depend on you not knowing the difference between a problem that requires professional chemistry and a problem that requires 2 tablespoons of powder and a timer. Consider what has actually happened to you financially if you have been living with a yellow bathtub for years. Every cleaning product you purchased over that time. Every failed attempt with a new spray or a stronger scrub. The mental weight of inviting guests into a bathroom you are ashamed of. The estimates you collected from refinishing contractors. The moment you considered replacement. None of that was necessary, not $1 of it. The solution predates every brand that sold you a failure. It was sitting in a hardware store bin, occasionally mislabeled, never marketed, never explained, waiting for someone to connect the chemistry to the problem the way professionals connect it every single time. Before they invoice you for work, you could have done yourself in a lunch break. One woman documenting her home restoration journey online described spending 3 years and over $200 on every bathroom cleaning product available before discovering oxalic acid powder. 2 tablespoons. 20 minutes. Her tub came back white. Her exact description was that she could not comprehend spending 3 years believing the problem was unsolvable when the answer had been sitting on a hardware shelf the entire time for less than the cost of a drink. That is not an unusual story. That is the common story. That is the story of millions of bathrooms across the country right now. The yellow is not permanent. It was never permanent. It was a mineral deposit waiting for the right acid to encounter it. The right acid costs under $2, has existed in documented scientific literature since the 18th century, has been on consumer shelves in diluted form since 1882, and has been the first step in every professional bathtub refinishing job performed in this country for as long as that industry has existed. You now know what they know. You now know what they hoped you would never find out and calculate for yourself. You know the difference between organic stains and inorganic mineral deposits. You know why bleach has never worked and never will. You know where to buy the powder, how to mix it, how long to wait, and how to seal the surface so the problem does not return. No contractor needed. No appointment. No fumes clearing your home for 2 days. No invoice. No repeat visits. No reglazing cycle eating hundreds of dollars every few years. $5, 30 minutes, a white bathtub. If Hidden Hacks just saved you that money, the subscribe button is right there, and the bell makes sure you see every secret we pull out next. Because what we found inside the kitchen tile industry makes the bathtub story look minor. Stay with us.